Whether you're a SOC analyst, an aspiring SOC analyst, or had to wear multiple hats, including a blue one for managing your organization's information security, you absolutely have experienced investigating some odd file or artifact in your environment and really not sure if it's malicious or benign, and just kind of deciding after a while of poking at it with a stick and searching, putting it down, backing away slowly and being like, it doesn't look bad, right? Everyone's done that. Alert fatigue's a real thing too, partially because there are so many alerts and they are non-stop, partially because it can be difficult to get a confident disposition on the maliciousness or benignness of the alert itself. There are multiple resources out there that can help you better understand if a file or artifact is good or evil, but these tools aren't always definitive, and the analyst ends up spending more time digging. And it's the reason why alert fatigue is a thing. So in this video, I'm going to show off a technique that enables triaging and automating aspects of Tier 1 analyst work, so SOC analysts are left to really focus their energy and efforts on true positive alerts, not spinning their tires over false positive. Let's go. Hey everybody, it's Jerry from Simply Cyber with the SOC Analyst Blue Team Tooling video. First, I'll explain what this tool's doing, and then I'll demo it so you can see for yourself. Now, I want to point out up front that this is a sponsored video, but the thoughts and opinions are my own. I used Intezer's platform when I was in charge of the information security for a $750 million manufacturing business, and found real value in the tool, especially the time it saved me. That was like the #1 thing I loved about it. I liked it so much that I've even featured Intezer on the Simply Cyber channel in the past. You may remember I did a video on the platform and how I used it. Now, the platform has advanced since then, and what they're developing is definitely worth sharing. Intezer's Analyze intelligence engine, coupled with its integration into major EDR platforms like SentinelOne and CrowdStrike, provides analysts with two key advantages. The first is the engine itself, right? It provides richer context above and beyond what the EDR, endpoint detection and response solution, provides, with context on what the malware is, what it's trying to do. Plus, you can drill into it to get much more context that's much more actionable, informative, and you didn't have to do all the research, which I absolutely love. Again, it's absolutely a time saver. Second is the time and speed that it gives the analyst, because the engine can work and document in the tickets itself. So it's a force multiplier for your SOC team, enabling your knowledge workers, you as a SOC analyst, to do actual thoughtful work instead of copying and pasting into search and hoping for a hit. I mean, it's been reported that security tooling on average generates between 10,000 and 150,000 alerts a day. Now, obviously, the size of your organization, the number of endpoints you have, etc., is going to influence how many alerts per day are generated, but there are 1,440 minutes in a day, period, end of story. That's a fact, not opinion. So even if we take the lower end of the estimate, 10,000 alerts, right? If you only gave 1 minute of investigation time per alert, which is obviously not enough, and you worked 24/7, so you didn't sleep, you didn't eat, you didn't use the bathroom, you didn't exercise, you worked weekends, you basically just glued to your monitor, right? You'd still only be able to look at 14% of all the alerts. It's literally insane. It's a massive cybersecurity blind spot, having, over 70% of your alerts not even looked at. Like, let me put this in perspective for you, okay? In 2013, Neiman Marcus, the high-end department store, they suffered a major security breach. A post-mortem analysis showed that there were over 60,000 alerts generated that identified that a compromise was happening. And this was only 1% of the total alerts in the time period. So the analyst over there would be trying to find a needle inside a stack of needles. And false positives are also exhausting, and they desensitize analysts. If you see a million, you're like, oh my God, the next one is just a false positive too. You just kind of get, so let me show you what I'm talking about. Let's get into like a pretty demo. So you can see here, this is me logged into the SentinelOne instance. SentinelOne is a major endpoint detection and response, or EDR, solution on the market. It has agents that run on endpoints like workstations and servers in the environment, and they report back to a central engine, which is what we're looking at right now, on behavior, files, network activity coming from each endpoint, right? So it's all kind of, you got little spies on all the machines looking, and they're reporting back telemetry to the center console and aggregating it. So it's all kind of tightly packaged nicely together and allows us to kind of look at it. So this is the dashboard, and analysts might see when they log into work, they're like, okay, no big deal. I got my dashboard here. Let's take a look. Now, you see there's a lot going on here, but let's pretend for a second this is just like a day in the life. Now, these are not mitigated risks. So let's take a look at this. This might be how you like get your cup of coffee, you sit down, you're like, okay, Looks like some bad's happening here. Can't believe I got up and got coffee. There's stuff going on here. Looking at it right now, you can see here there's a couple issues, right? This first one right here is a file 7533.dll, so a dynamic link library. It showed up. It's a little sus on the environment. Let's take a look. So we click it. You can see that Sentinel-1 identified it as not mitigated. It has confidence that it's malicious based on the AI. It looks like it successfully killed the process. So way to go, Sentinel-1. This is good. The EDR solution itself did what it was supposed to do. But like, let's just see, is this the beginning of something or other endpoints compromised? So let's try to figure out what it, like what was it? So we're looking and we can see this is the endpoint itself. There's some information here. It was a malware identified through dynamic analysis. It was created by run DLL32.exe, so we don't know what that is. We might like search on this hash right here, but we really don't have any context. This thing automatically killed something, so something bad got into our environment, whether Carl downloaded it from an email, somebody plugged in a USB drive, we don't know. And we don't even know, was it ransomware? Was it a Redline info stealer? We have no idea. Now, check this out. We go over here on the side and we look at what Intezer has done. You can see Intezer has typed in here. So this is where an analyst might type something like, Jerry, the SOC analyst, hey, I looked at this. It was a malicious file. It was killed. No further action required. But what was it? Well, as I mentioned before with the force multiplier, Intezer Analysis is essentially like a tier 1 SOC analyst. They confirmed the threat was Quackbot. Okay. There's 8 IOCs or indicators of compromise that we can take advantage of. Now, you might say real quick, Jerry, what's an IOC? An IOC is an indicator of compromise, so it's some type of URL, hash, file name, behavior. It's something that is an indicator of the way that Quackbot executed that we can leverage, and we can do 2 things with it. 1, we can use it to tune our EDR, so if bad things happen in the future, it'll detect it and stop it. We can also use it for threat hunting by dropping it into our SIM or something like that and go look to see if other endpoints in our environment are talking to this malicious IPs, because sometimes malware will disable an antivirus or an anti-malware solution like a Sentinel-1 before it starts doing its bad stuff, so it can't get detected. So it's not always going to report in here, or somebody disabled the endpoint agent, right? Or like some IT person used their admin creds and uninstalled the agent because it took up too much resources. Well, if that server is still talking to a malicious domain, you can use these IOCs to actually identify and find that. So that's real value. Now, if you want to take it to the next level, you could see here that there's a full report here from Intezer, and just by clicking on this, it takes us right into the analysis for that piece of code that was discovered on the endpoint, right? And you could see here, there's a little bit of analysis. There's TTPs, which maps to MITRE ATT&CK, which is definitely really, really cool. Here's the IOCs. Now, individual IOCs are very nice. You could download them to a CSV file, but hold off on that for just 1 second. I want to show you that you can also see the behavior here, so you can actually see the process execution, how Run DL32 launched Explorer, which launched its scheduled task, which took this PowerShell encoded, base64 encoded argument. So we'd have to decode that to see what it was. Long story short, good, valid software in your environment is not doing this. Okay, so this is also an indicator. Now here's the cool thing, the detect and hunt. It's in beta, but you'll see how it's mapped to Bianco's Pyramid of Pain here. You can actually use this to quickly extract rules for Sentinel-1, CrowdStrike, and pretty soon Sigma and OS Query, and then quickly download them, flip them back over here in Sentinel-1, and use them to go threat hunting right here, all in a matter of like a minute, right? So all I just did, okay, we got this problem. Let's see if it's another issue. We go to detect and hunt, we extract the rules, we go back to Sentinel-1, and we start hunting for those IOCs, all in a matter of minutes, right? So like, it just allows you as an analyst to move so much faster and be informed. It's really, again, a force multiplier, which is so, so cool. Now, I do want to point out that this tool does have the power to integrate with third-party SOARs like XSOAR. So if you wanted to, you could connect your email gateway, for example, and start using it in that capacity. Intezer has tested the tool's efficacy and found that it has an 85% false positive detection rate, which is excellent. Like if you could turn down the noise and just get rid of 85% of your false positives, you or your analysts, if you're a CISO or a director of a SOC, would be so much happier. Trust me, this is substantial. Like I said, it basically turns on the noise and allows your analyst to focus on actual alerts that really need actual investigating. And by the way, everything I'm talking about right now is just addressing SecOps quality of service, right? How good is the security operations center? There's an added benefit here that should definitely not be overlooked, and that's the quality of life on the actual SOC team and the SOC analysts themselves. One recent industry report found that 62% of SOC analysts said alert fatigue contributed to turnover, and 60% said that alert fatigue created internal friction in their organization. Guys, mental health's a real thing. That's like one of the downsides that people talk about working in a SOC. Great work, tons of fun. Mental health, got to make sure you take breaks, right? So what we're saying here is with this, tool and kind of eliminating 85% of the false positives, you're going to have better SecOps, happier analysts, and I mean, personally, I'll take that all day long. Now, if you want to try out Intezer's automated and integrated analyze function in your organization, they do allow orgs easily hook in and use the entire fully featured platform for 2 weeks and see how it can ease the burden of alert fatigue and missing bad in your environment, and really how your analysts take to it, and just the efficacy of it, right? There's a link down below in the description that will take you right to the try it out page or registration page or whatever it is. It's the link that you need to go to in order to get this going. Setup is fairly quick, by the way, the integration of it. It is a cloud-based service, which is excellent. You can literally see what I was showing in the demo. Like, you'll have the same interfaces and stuff like that. And if you end up liking it, but you're a CISO or a senior analyst who doesn't have budget, right? So many of us don't have our own budgets. It's like we get to go to the CIO and beg. Intezer actually provides an after-action report from your kind of trial or your proof of value, and it shows like false positives detected and what kind of incidents were automated, how much time was saved, etc. Right? And they make it all pretty charts, right? You got your donut chart there. All the CFOs, CEOs love their donut charts, right? And they'll be able to communicate well through that report and make it look pretty, right? And it would be just the ticket, right? So you could just flip it to the CFO or whomever has budget authority and have a clearly communicated value proposition, especially right now where organizations are tightening their belt and looking for ways to save money. You can get more value out of your analysts and reduce cyber risk by implementing some of this automation tooling. Now, I'm really loving watching Intezer continue to evolve and grow their product offering, and will continue to use them in my own environments as I go forward in my career. That's going to do it for this video. If you got value, take the 5 seconds and nail that like button. It really goes a long way and lets me know that you enjoy this type of content. Be sure to check out Simply Cyber's daily cyber threat briefing every single morning at 8 a.m. Eastern Time on the Simply Cyber channel right here, where hundreds of cyber professionals, literally hundreds, join me live as I run through the top cyber news stories of the day and give my expert analysis on each of the stories. I'm Jerry from Simply Cyber. Thanks for watching.